The water of the lake that was at the foot of the mountains was alive with fish that swam merrily in circles and waiting. All the birds in the trees were tweeting happily. Every living being in that region was waiting with excitement, trepidation and anticipation. The storks were supposed to come in with him their load of gifts. Through the closed beak of the stork he could feel the air rushing around him as his trip that started earlier that day continued. In the dark he could feel others like him present, but he could not see anything. Suddenly there was a vibration and light finally shone inside the beak of the stork. The sun's rays were so fierce at that height that he could not see clearly. Then all of a sudden he could see the beak of the stork opening up. He was apprehensive and afraid, fearing to fall out from the sky. Then the beak opened completely and they were all falling from the sky. His fear vanished as soon as he started falling. He knew that he should have been terrified, but strangely he was not. He felt at ease and very calm. There was a gentle blip. Then he fell asleep. When he woke out he found out that there were many others just like him and all crying and clamoring for attention. His mother came over and started feeding all of them. His thirst and hunger satiated, he went to sleep. It had been a hard, tiring day. When he came to this world, he did not come alone. 13 others accompanied him. They were his brothers and sisters. They played, ate and slept. Their mother was always there, feeding them and taking good care of them. He was so happy that he no longer regretted coming out of the stork's beak to see the light and fall out of the sky. He loved to play with his brothers and sisters. Every day was the same. He woke up, drank a little, tried to see who else was awake. Finding someone awake like him meant that he could play Nibble. Nibble was a game that another one of his brothers taught them. You came next to your friend, gently bit his or her ears, licked his or her nose and face and then ran away. Your friend would then chase you until you either surrendered or were both tired and both went back to sleep. He just loved Nibble. So much so that he tried constantly with each and every one of them. Thus went on the first days of his life, pure, unadulterated joy and happiness. It lasted exactly 54 days. One November day, the air was chilly and the sun, which had been gloriously heating the day, suddenly went into hiding. A bunch of dark and menacing clouds came and chased him away. Our little friend, who was playing his favorite game, even today still remembers that day. Rain started pouring from the sky and all of his brothers and sisters started running for cover to the small enclosed space where they slept with their mother. Suddenly another shadow overcast them while someone. It was the first time he saw that person, bent over the pen, picked up one of his sisters and walked away. None of his family understood what was happening. His mother, who was sleeping, tired as she was from feeding them, did not bat an eye. Surely if it was bad she would have done something. His sister never came back. The next day, everybody forgot what happened and things went back to normal. Eat, drink, play, Nibble, rest and play again. Over the course of a month, 12 of his brothers and sisters disappeared in more or less the same fashion than his first sister. His mother was now becoming restless and greatly agitated. She would whimper and even show her teeth at the human who came to steal the others. He was now starting to become apprehensive and sad, as his favorite friend was gone, abducted by the extraterrestrial being that was the thief. He came to that conclusion when once there was a power outage. As night came early, the human came in with a lamp in the pen to steal one of the other puppies. All he could see was the floating circle of light and suddenly one of his brothers going up and disappearing behind the circle of light. Surely aliens abducted him. He was the last one of his brothers and sisters who mysteriously vanished, never to be heard from or seen again. Only his mother and he remained. His mother was wailing and running from one door to the other of the pen, barking and going mad. That night he cried and cried while snuggling up to his mother. He knew that something bad was coming his way too. The next few days were dull. He had nothing to do and nobody to play with. He did try to play nibble with his mother, but she was not a good player and it kind of hurt when she tried to reciprocate the nibbling. On the bright side, he had more to eat now that he was alone with his mother. It was his turn to have the full attention of his mother and he liked it. She was able to focus entirely on her little one and give him all the love he needed. Suddenly the door opened and his mother was let outside while he stayed alone. Then somebody, the nice man who brought food and water for them, came in and taking him in his arms went into another room of the house. It was a room where he had never been to before. There was a leader fireplace, a big table, chairs, sofas and two other people, a man and a woman. While the man was counting some money out of his wallet, the woman picked him in her arms. She smelled nice and seemed to be greatly infatuated with him, so he decided to play his favorite game. The woman started laughing and kissed him on his head. She was happy. In the background they could hear the mother going crazy. The man came over and took him in his arms. He was also gentle with him and seemed to like him a lot. He immediately reciprocated and started nibbling his ears too. Laughing, the couple left while the man held him in his arms. When they reached their car, the woman opened the passenger side door and climbed in the car. Once she was settled in, the man lowered him in her laps. Soon thereafter, they left. It was the first time he was riding in a car and it felt great. After a long time, he had time to sleep, wake up and sleep again. The car finally stopped. They reached their home. His new home. The man carried him to the front door of the house. Once inside, he gently put him on the ground and said, "Our name is Alfie." "Okay, Alfie is cool. I like it." Alfie thought and then started exploring the house. Living room, dining room, office, kitchen, glass doors and conservatory. Have not even seen all the rooms yet, Alfie said to himself. Suddenly there was a loud bark. And Cece the German Shepherd started jumping at the window thinking, "Who is this guy intruding in my house? Hey, it's my house, what are you doing here? Go away." Alfie stopped in his tracks and was suddenly petrified. The first meeting with Cece was not very pleasant. She kept on being obnoxious and trying to bite Alfie. Alfie started by being afraid of that creature. He had never seen a German Shepherd before. He, certainly, had never seen another dog with different colors than black and white before. He decided that she was weird. At dinner time, his mistress put down some nice food for them. As he was a slow eater, Cece wolfed her food down and nudged him away and ate all of his. Fortunately for him, his master saw it, came in, took Cece by her collar and threw her out of the house. He then put some more food for Alfie. Once and only once, Alfie was done eating, he let Cece back in. Alfie, in order to evade Cece's wrath, stayed close by either his mistress or his master. When they settled down in a comfy chair to watch television, Alfie jumped in his master's lap, curled up and was soon asleep. Later, when it was sleeping time, his master brought him to their bedroom and gently put him on the bed. First time in a bed. It was heavenly. He slept through the entire night, not waking up once. He did dream about his mother, but looking at Cece and understanding that she was just like him, he started seeking her as his mother. That was the next day when they woke up and went about their day. He was finally able to tour the outside of the property and discover the big green lawn of the garden where Cece ran back and forth every time a car drove by the property. Alfie tried to run twice and discovered that it was indeed very tiring at his age. So, he just sat there and watched that strange creature named Cece run around. Whereas Alfie was adapting quite nicely to Cece. Cece was still not a happy camper as her days of ruling the house was over. Now she had to contend with Alfie and could no longer be the sole recipient of all cuddles their master and mistress sent their way. She did not understand why her masters had to bring somebody else in the house. Why could not she be alone like before and have their undivided attention and love? And that was the core of the problem, jealousy. It was now almost 1 month that Alfie had been living in his new house with his new parents and his new big sister. He was happy. He was discovering a whole new world. Everybody loved him, and this made him so happy that he had to play his favorite game of nibble with all of them, even if they were strangers. Well, life was good. He now even knew how to deal with Cece. Or rather, he thought he knew. Cece for her part was trying very hard to adapt to this new life and to this new demanding little boy. For her, Alfie was very annoying. He always wanted to play and was always pestering her. Cece discovered a new game, hide and seek. But her way of playing at this new game was to hide quietly behind a wall or a tree and then to suddenly jump on Alfie when he walked by. It was great fun as Alfie was always surprised and jumped a lot. One night, there was a big storm and plenty of rain. There was so much rain that the water entered through the chimney and flooded the boiler. As such, there was no hot water in the house the next day. The only place where there was hot water was in the shower and at the pool house. Alfie's master was last to shower and before leaving the pool house hung up his towel on a peg at the back of the door. At the end of the day, he came back from exercising and had to go take a shower in the cold and damp pool house. When he came outside, both Alfie and Cece followed him and they immediately started horsing around playing hide and seek. Their master made his way inside the pool house and then walked slowly to the shower room. Cece ran around the garden with Alfie chasing her. Suddenly, Alfie stopped and went to investigate a dead branch that fell off a tree. During that time, Cece pursued her run and found herself behind the pool house. She stopped and decided to play hide and seek. Their master opened the door of the shower room and found out that his towel was on the ground. As the towel was damp and cold, he decided to go back to the main house in order to get a new towel. He was puzzled as he clearly remembered hanging it properly earlier that day. Alfie came running looking for Cece. He stopped next to the covered pool. At one end of the pool there was a set of steps to walk inside the pool. Because of the handrails there was a small gap. The freezing water of the pool was visible through this gap. Alfie stopped next to it and looked at it with some curiosity. Cece chose just that moment to come out of hiding and scare Alfie. Alfie, who was concentrating on the water and the gap in the pool, was taken completely by surprise. It made him jump and he fell in the pool. Had he been bigger, nothing would have happened. But as he was a baby, he slid in the gap and fell in the freezing water. He started fighting for his life. But try as he may, he just could not get a grip on the slippery tarpaulin across the pool. Cece just stood there and watched, fascinated by the life and death event unfurling in front of her. It never came to her mind to try to go inside the house and find some help. Alfie's master came out and suddenly saw Alfie's little head bobbing in the pool. He ran and, almost falling in the pool too, was able to grab Alfie's collar and pull him out. Alfie was saved. He cuddled his master and nibbled him. He was then brought inside and thoroughly rubbed and placed next to the lit fireplace. The warmth slowly invaded him and soon he felt much better. Alfie's master and mistress thanked God profusely as Alfie's guardian angel was watching over him and saved his life. What a day!